The begging warrior in chains. The twin suns above the desert burned hotter than anything Elias Arden had ever felt. Even the air around him shimmered like it was trying to melt into liquid fire. He wiped sweat from his forehead and tried to remind himself that he had only come to this chaotic marketplace for fuel, nothing more. But the longer he walked through the noisy maze of stalls, the more he felt pulled toward a direction he had no reason to explore. The marketplace was alive with every strange sound in the galaxy. Traders shouted prices, drones buzzed overhead, and alien creatures hissed in languages Elias couldn't understand. He pushed through the crowd, trying not to bump into anyone dangerous. The last time he bumped into someone here, they tried to sell him a three-headed goat. Yet somehow, his feet kept leading him toward the darkest part of the market, the place he always avoided, the section filled with cages. Elias didn't know why he was walking there. Maybe it was curiosity. Maybe he was bored. Or maybe he was terrible at making good decisions. He was moving past a row of rusted metal cages when he suddenly felt eyes on him. Not soft eyes, not curious eyes. These eyes were sharp, focused, trained like someone studying a target. He turned his head slowly. That was when he saw her. Behind glowing blue energy bars stood a tall woman with long elven-shaped ears, dust covering her skin, bruises on her arms, and exhaustion pulling at her shoulders. But even with all that, she stood tall. Her back was straight, her jaw tight, and her bright eyes filled with the kind of fierce pride that did not break easily. Two small children huddled beside her, clinging to her legs. Their ears were smaller, softer, and their frightened eyes watched everything. Elias blinked. He pointed at himself awkwardly, silently asking, "Are you looking at me?" Then the unexpected happened. The tall woman, slowly, dropped to one knee. The movement looked painful, as if kneeling was something she hated more than death. Her voice when she spoke was not weak at all. It was strong and commanding, the voice of someone who once led armies. "Please buy us." "Human." Elias froze. For a moment, he thought he heard wrong. "What?" he said, confused. She looked up at him with anger and desperation, mixed together, a strange combination that made Elias forget how to breathe. "You heard me," she said. "Buy us. Now. Before someone else does." Elias scratched the back of his neck. "I should tell you, I'm not very good at buying things. Last week I bought a used plasma cooker, and it exploded twice." The children stared at him like he was broken. The tall woman narrowed her eyes. "This is not the time for your human jokes," she said sharply. "Trust me," Elias replied. "This is my serious mode." A slug-like trader with too many teeth slid toward them. His slimy body left a trail across the ground. "You interested, human?" the trader asked. "Premium stock." The tall one was a fighter once. Very valuable. Very obedient now. The woman's ears twitched backward, her species' way of wanting to stab someone, Elias guessed. She leaned closer to him and whispered so only he could hear, "If he sells us to the collectors, we will not survive the journey. You are the only chance we have." Elias felt his stomach twist. Him? A chance? That sounded wrong. Very wrong. But the woman's eyes held something he could not walk away from, a plea from someone who hated pleading. "All right," he whispered. "But if this ends with me getting punched, stabbed, or vaporized, please remember I was guilt-tripped into heroism." She blinked. "What is guilt-tripped?" "It means," Elias sighed, "that you are very convincing." The trader clapped his wet hands. "So, human buys?" Elias gave a painful sigh. "Yeah, I buy." The price the trader named almost made Elias faint, but he paid it anyway. The energy bars flickered out, and the tall woman stepped forward slowly, as if she didn't believe freedom was real. Up close, she looked even stronger. Scars marked her arms, but her dignity remained untouched. "I am Kais Vera," she said, lifting her chin. "Former captain of the Lyrathi Vanguard." Elias nodded. "Elias Arden. Former guy who just wanted cheap fuel." Her ears twitched slightly, maybe amusement, maybe disbelief. "You have done something reckless, Elias Arden," she said softly, "and something honorable." "Yeah," he muttered. "I mix those two things a lot." He guided them through the crowded market toward his ship. Many eyes followed them, some jealous, some confused, some calculating. Case walked close, scanning every shadow like a trained warrior, even though she looked half-starved. "You realize," Elias said as they reached his ship's ramp, "I have no idea how to take care of kids." "They are not fragile," Kais replied. One child immediately tripped and fell onto Elias's foot. Kais did not blink. Usually not fragile. As they entered his ship, the AI greeted Elias by mispronouncing his name 4 times in a row. Kais stared at the messy interior, wires hanging out, panels loose, tools thrown everywhere. "This vessel," she said slowly, "is an insult to engineering." "Hey," Elias protested. "She flies." "Does she?" Kais asked, stepping over a sparking toolbox. But for the first time, A tiny smile pulled at the corner of her lips before exhaustion washed over her again. As the ship rose into the sky and the market vanished beneath them, Elias realized something important. He had not bought slaves. He had rescued people. And for reasons he did not understand yet. Kais Vera had chosen him, the ship that should not exist. For the first hour after liftoff, Kais Vera said nothing. She sat stiffly in the co-pilot seat, her back straight, her shoulders tense, and her long, elegant ears angled sharply backward, a silent warning. Elias quickly understood. Meant, do not talk to me unless you enjoy danger. The two children stayed near the back of the cabin, staring out at the stars, like they were something fragile, something they were afraid might disappear. Now that they were no longer inside the cage, they looked even smaller, their eyes too old for their young faces. Elias cleared his throat and tried to break the heavy silence. You want a ration bar? He asked, holding out a brown square of what he considered edible sadness. Case inspected it like it was a trap. What is this? Food, Elias said. Well, that's what the label claims. She handed it back instantly. I would rather starve than eat poison. Fair. The ship rattled as they entered a weaker pocket of hyperspace. Kais reacted instantly. Her eyes darted to the control panels, her fingers tracing the glowing readings faster than Elias could blink. You understand this system? Elias asked, surprised. Enough, she said. Enough to know your vessel requires immediate maintenance. This ship, it should not be flying. That's her charm, Elias said, patting the console. This ship, Kais replied, has no charm. Before Elias could defend his beloved disaster of a ship, the AI flickered alive, glitching in and out until its holographic face stabilized badly. Greetings, Elish Ellis Ellis, the AI said, pronouncing his name in 4 completely wrong ways. Kais nearly reached for a weapon that wasn't there. It speaks. Only on days it feels like it, Elias sighed. The AI's hologram brightened. I am neutral interface. Why was I assigned gender? Kais stared like she'd walked into a nightmare. The children crept forward slowly. One of them, the younger one, tugged on Kais's sleeve and whispered nervously, Is he safe? Kais considered the question for several long seconds, longer than Elias preferred. He's unpredictable, she said finally, but he means well. That, Elias muttered, is the nicest insult I've ever received. The older child, Leary, stepped closer to Elias with a seriousness that only children who survived too much could have. Will you sell us? No, Elias said instantly. I barely managed to buy you, and honestly, I'm not organized enough to run anything like a selling operation. I lose my socks every day. I'd lose people instantly. The child looked at Kais for confirmation. After a hesitant moment, Kais nodded. Leary relaxed. But Elias noticed something strange. Kais was no longer studying him. She was studying the ship. Her sharp eyes traced every wire, every exposed pipe, every flickering panel. Then, quietly, she said something that chilled Elias more than the freezing vacuum of space. This ship, it carries Lyrathi tech. Elias blinked. Lyrathi? As in, your people? Kais nodded slowly. But that is impossible. Every Lyrathi warship was destroyed. Every core, every crystal, every circuit, burned. So no enemy could claim it. She rose from the co-pilot chair and walked toward the back panel, her fingers brushing over a glowing blue line in the wall, a line Elias had always assumed was just decorative wiring. But Kais touched it like someone touching a ghost. This is a soul line, she whispered. A technology only my people knew. How did a human vessel carry this? Elias shrugged. I found this ship abandoned 10 years ago. It was floating near a red dwarf star. No records, no history, no crew. Just empty. So I kept it. Kais turned sharply. No, Lyrathi's ship is left empty. Not unless. The AI suddenly flickered, glitching violently. The hologram shook as if something powerful had slammed into its code. Unauthorized presence detected. The AI stuttered. What presence? Elias asked. The AI turned its glitching face toward Kais. You are Kais Vera, it said. Exile of the Nightfall Massacre. Kais froze. Her skin went pale. Her ears stiffened. No, she whispered. No system should know that name. That event was erased from every record. Elias stared at her. Massacre? Exile? Case, what happened to your world? But before she could answer, the AI flickered again and focused on Elias. And you, it said slowly, are not meant to be human. The cabin fell into complete silence. Even the ship's engines seemed to hold their breath. What? What do you mean? Elias asked. But the AI did not respond. Instead, alarms started blaring. Kais rushed to the front. scanning the radar. Her eyes widened. No, she whispered. Not now. Not this soon. Elias leaned over her shoulder and felt his heart drop. A massive warship had locked onto their signal, its dark shape filling the radar screen. Kais placed a trembling hand on the console. The collector, she said quietly. He has found us. The children began shaking. Elias felt fear rise in his throat, but Kais turned toward him with fire in her eyes. You wanted answers, Elias Arden, she said. And now the one who destroyed my world is coming to claim you. The ship trembled as a beam of red light scanned across their shields. Elias swallowed hard. Great, he whispered. I knew today was going too well. The human, who should not exist. The collector's warship grew larger on the radar with every passing second. Its shape was not like normal ships. No clean lines, no smooth metal. It looked alive, like a giant armored creature from the deep sea, wrapped in dark plates and glowing red scars. Elias felt his heartbeat jump into his throat. Even the air in the cabin felt colder. Kais stood completely still as she watched the approaching vessel. Her jaw tightened, her ears angled back, and her hands curled into fists. This wasn't fear. This was something older and heavier memory. He killed my people, she whispered. He destroyed our cities. He took our young. He erased our name from the stars. Elias swallowed hard. Why would someone like that come after me? Kais slowly turned to him, her eyes scanning his face like she was seeing him for the first time. That, she said quietly, is what frightens me. Before Elias could ask what she meant, the AI flickered on again. Its hologram shook violently, glitching as if something was attacking it from inside the code. Unstable danger, origin detected. Origin? Elias repeated. What origin? The lights dimmed, and the ship trembled again. This time, it wasn't the collector. It was something inside the ship. A deep humming started from the lower decks, low, powerful, ancient. Elias felt it in his bones. Case spun around. That sound, it is from a star core. A what now? Elias said, but the children already knew. Lyri grabbed her younger sibling and pulled them back, fear shining in their eyes. Kais stepped closer to Elias, her face tightening with disbelief. Humans cannot touch a star core. Even we Lyrathi warriors can barely control its energy. Only one being in all history could command it fully. Elias blinked. Let me guess. The collector? No, Kais whispered. The Starbinder. Elias stared, stupidly. Who? Kais looked at him, eyes burning with fear and recognition. A myth, she said softly. A legend. A being who could control ancient machines, turn worlds to weapons, awaken armies. He disappeared thousands of years ago. Some say he died, some say he became something else. Elias held up his hands. Okay, but what does that have to do with me? The AI answered instead. You carry the mark, it said. Hidden, locked, buried in your cells. My what? Starbinder frequency detected. The AI repeated. You are the anomaly. Elias stared at the AI as if it had just declared him king of the universe. No, I'm just a guy. A normal guy. I fix things. I break things. I make terrible purchases. I am not a mythical anything. Kais did not blink. You activated the ship's soul line earlier, she said. No human could do that. That was an accident. There are no accidents with star cores, Kais said firmly. The humming grew louder, vibrating the entire ship. The walls pulsed with a soft blue glow. Elias felt the strange energy crawling up his arms. Tingling, like electricity, but warmer, almost alive. Stop touching it, Kais shouted. I'm not touching anything. The energy burst outward, a shockwave of light, and for a moment Elias saw something impossible. A massive silhouette, an ancient machine standing in a starless void, waiting for him like a loyal soldier waiting for its commander. Then the vision vanished. Elias gasped and stumbled back, nearly falling. What was that? Kai stared at him with something new fear. You saw the Titan, she whispered. Only the Starbinder can see it. The ship shook violently. This time it was the collector. His voice boomed through every speaker in the ship, cold and deep, carrying echoes that did not sound entirely human. Human, the collector said. Return what belongs to me, Elias shouted at the speakers. I don't have anything of yours. Case grabbed his arm. He does not want an object. He wants you. Why? Because, Kai said, her voice shaking for the first time. He believes your power belongs to him. The collector's ship fired a warning beam that sliced through the space beside them. The shock wave sent Elias's ship spinning. Lyri screamed. The younger child began crying. Kais pushed them behind her protectively. Elias stumbled back into the pilot seat. The controls flickered wildly. Okay, think. What do I do? Kais grabbed the edge of the console. You must run. Run where? To the dead sector, Kai said. Elias stared at her like she had gone mad. The dead sector? Ships enter that place and never come out. Exactly, Kai said. The collector cannot follow. It is the only place he avoids, the only place he fears. That makes me feel even worse. He fears it. Kais repeated firmly. Because it kills everything, except the Starbinder. Elias froze. The ship trembled harder. The collector was charging a weapon. They had seconds. Kais met Elias's eyes and spoke in a low, steady voice. You want to know why I begged you to buy us? Because I saw something in your eyes the moment you walked past my cage. Something the collector fears. Something ancient. The ship's lights flared red. The collector fired. Elias Arden, Kai said, gripping his shoulder. You were never ordinary. Elias slammed his hand on the thrusters. Hold on. The ship shot forward, toward the dead sector, and the collector roared behind them. The dead sector. That should not be entered. The ship shot forward so fast that Elias felt his bones shake. The stars blurred into long streaks of white, and alarm screamed across the cabin. Behind them, the collector's ship roared like a living beast, firing beam after beam, each one close enough to make the hull burn red. Elias, faster! Kai shouted, bracing herself against the seat as the ship rattled violently. I'm going as fast as she can go, Elias yelled back. He gripped the controls until his fingers hurt. The engines screamed, pushing far beyond what any normal human pilot would dare. The children clung to Kais, shaking as bright flashes of destruction lit the windows behind them. Ahead of them, space began to darken. The galaxy's bright colors faded. Stars disappeared. The navigation screen warped. The dead sector wasn't just empty, it was wrong. It looked like a wound in space. A place where light itself refused to live. Elias swallowed hard. Kais, this place looks like a horror movie setting. It is, she said quietly. This sector kills everything. Machines, ships, creatures. Nothing lives here. Nothing moves. Nothing returns. That's very comforting. Kais gave him a sharp look. Do not lose focus, human. Only your kind can enter this place safely. My kind? I'm literally the opposite of special. But as they neared the edge of the dead sector, the strange humming inside the ship returned. The soul lines glowed again, brighter than before. The air felt heavy, like something ancient was waking up. The ship's AI flickered, its voice echoing strangely. Welcome, Starbinder. Navigation unlocked. Elias stared. Navigation unlocked? What navigation? The AI projected a map he had never seen before, a hidden route through the dead sector that no machine should know. Kai stiffened. This is impossible. Only ancient vessels use those routes. They were lost thousands of years ago. The children looked at Elias with wide eyes, whispering in their own language. Elias gripped the controls. Okay, either this ship is trying to kill me, or it thinks I'm some kind of chosen one. Kais placed a hand on his shoulder. I once believed the Starbinder was a myth. But now I believe he left something behind. A legacy, a path. And you think I'm part of it? Elias asked. Kais's voice softened. I think you are the key. Behind them, the collector's voice boomed through every speaker again, deeper and angrier, as if spoken by 10 voices at once. Human, do not enter that place. Elias smirked nervously. Wow, that almost makes me want to go faster. Then the collector screamed an inhuman, furious roar that shook space itself. You are mine. Kais grabbed Elias's wrist. Go now. He slammed the ship forward, and they crossed into the dead sector. Instantly, everything changed. No sound, no stars, no gravity, just a vast, endless darkness, filled with strange shapes floating like broken memories. Elias, Kais whispered, do not stop. The ship drifted forward through the stillness. It felt like flying through a graveyard of forgotten dreams. Twisted metal, old warships, shattered planets, silent reminders of things erased from existence. Leary pressed her face to the window. Kais, look. Far in the distance, something enormous floated in the darkness. It wasn't a ship. It wasn't a creature. It was a titan. A massive metal giant, shaped like ancient armor. Floating with its head bowed, its arms crossed over a glowing core. Its surface was covered in runes neither Elias nor Kais had ever seen. Kais gasped. That is a star-forged titan. Elias blinked. A what? A machine older than my people, Kais whispered. A guardian. A weapon. A king of war. Only one being could control it. She turned slowly toward Elias. The Starbinder. Elias stared at the titan, feeling a strange pull inside his chest, like a thread, linking his heartbeat to the giant machine. The soul lines in the ship pulsed in the same rhythm. Kais, he whispered. Why do I feel like it's calling me? Before Kais could answer, something flickered across the titan's chest, a symbol. A glowing sigil, It was the same symbol that sometimes appeared on the side of Elias's hand when the ship glowed. The same symbol he had always thought was a weird burn mark from chemical fluid years ago. But now that symbol shone bright on the Titan. Kai stepped back in pure shock. No. No. That cannot be. In Ender, Elias looked at his hand. The mark was glowing, burning, responding to the Titan's call. Kais, Elias whispered, voice shaking. What does this mean? Kais's voice cracked. It means, you are not just the Starbinder's successor. She stared at him with wide, trembling eyes. It means you were created by him. The children gasped. The AI flickered violently. The soul lines blazed with blinding light. We need to leave, Kai shouted, but it was already too late. The Collector's warship tore through the barrier of the dead sector, something no ship had ever done, driven by pure rage and obsession. His monstrous voice echoed through the sector. Starbinder, you belong to me. The Titan's eyes flashed open, and the dead sector came alive. The awakening of the star-forged Titan. The dead sector shuddered the moment the Titan's eyes opened. A deep, ancient rumble echoed through the darkness, vibrating through the metal of Elias's ship, through the bones of every living being inside it, and even through the Collector's monstrous war vessel. Space itself felt heavier, as if it recognized a forgotten king rising from 1,000-year sleep. Elias's heart raced. His glowing hand pulsed brighter and brighter, reacting to the Titan like a heartbeat sinking to another heartbeat far larger. The symbol burned like hot light under his skin. Kais! He shouted, panic tightening his chest. Why is it reacting to me? Kais stared at him, with awe and fear. Because it knows you. The Titan recognizes its commander. But I'm not a commander. You are something more, she whispered. Something the Collector was searching for. Something the Collector was searching for. The massive Titan slowly lifted its head. Metal groaned, echoing through the void like a thunderstorm. The runes on its armor lit up, traveling across its enormous arms and chest. Its eyes glowed with an ancient, fierce golden light that pierced the darkness. Then the Titan spoke, not with a voice of sound, but with a deep vibration that filled Elias's mind. Starbinder. Elias shivered. Hi. I'm not him. The Titan's voice thundered again in his mind. You carry his mark. You awakened me. Kai stepped forward, her voice low and reverent. We seek safety. The Collector hunts us. The Titan's golden eyes shifted toward the Collector's ship, which was forcing its way deeper into the sector. The warship twisted unnaturally, its metal reshaping like a living creature. Red cracks spread across its hull. Something inside that vessel was screaming, not human, not alive, not sane. The Collector's voice exploded through the void. The human is mine. Give him to me. Elias yelled back instinctively. I'm not yours. Stop trying to kidnap me. Kais grabbed his wrist. Elias, listen to me. You must control it. The Titan will respond only to you. It won't respond because I don't know how, Elias shouted. But the Titan responded anyway. Your will is enough. The Titan raised its massive arm. Space folded around the limb, energy rippling out like a wave. Kais pulled the children behind a panel as the force shook the ship again. The Collector's vessel lunged forward, red tentacle-like energy beams whipping out to grab Elias's ship. One beam snapped around the hull, crushing metal, dragging them closer like prey. The AI screamed, glitching hard. Danger level unmeasurable, systems failing. Elias, without thinking, held up his glowing hand. A blast of golden light shot from his palm. It wasn't planned. It wasn't trained. It was instinct. The Titan moved at the same time, its giant arm releasing the same golden energy. The two beams merged into one massive shockwave that ripped through the dead sector with earth-shaking force. The Collector roared in rage as the shockwave slammed into his ship. Parts of the warship cracked and split. Red energy bled from its wounds like broken veins. Kay stared in disbelief. You did that. You and the Titan. You fought as one. Elias shook his head. I don't even know what I'm doing. I don't know why I can do this. The Titan spoke again. Your creator left his power in you. You are his last legacy. Kais's breath caught. Elias, your birth, your past, none of it was an accident. Elias's chest tightened. Are you saying I wasn't born like a normal human? Kai stepped closer. Elias, you were created. The Starbinder engineered you. The words hit him like a physical blow. That's impossible. I had a childhood, a life. The Titan interrupted. Memories can be given. Birth can be shaped. You were made for a purpose. Elias backed away, shaking. I don't want to be made for anything. I'm just a guy. I fix ships. I buy fuel. I get scammed by markets. I'm not a weapon. The Collector's ship suddenly reformed itself, twisting into a darker shape. Something monstrous tore open the front of the vessel, a creature made of shadow and broken metal. Its eyes glowed with hungry red light. Kais whispered, voice trembling, "That is not the collector's true form. That is what hunts my people." The creature stepped forward. "Starbinder, you will serve me as your creator served me." Ilias shouted, "I don't serve anyone." The Titan stepped between Elias's ship and the monstrous form. "The Starbinder serves no one." Energy built in the Titan's core, bright, blinding, ancient, ready to release. Kais gripped Elias's hands. "You must choose now," she said urgently. "Fight with it, or we will all die." The sound of the collector's scream tore through the dead sector, warping space. Ilias closed his eyes, fear shaking his bones. He raised his glowing hand toward the Titan. "I'm with you." The Titan roared. The collector lunged. The dead sector cracked with light. The final choice of the Starbinder. The dead sector erupted in blinding light as Elias raised his glowing hand, and the Titan answered. The collector, now fully revealed in his monstrous form, part shadow, part twisted machinery, rushed forward with an inhuman scream that sliced through the darkness like a blade. His massive claws tore through space itself, reaching for Elias as if the universe did not obey him anymore. Kais pulled the children close behind a support beam as their ship shook wildly. The AI flickered in panic, screaming warnings. Elias didn't have time to hear. The Titan moved with thunderous force, placing itself between Elias and the collector, its metal body glowing with ancient fury. The Titan's voice filled Elias's mind again. "Starbinder, command me." Ilias yelled over the chaos. "I don't know how to command anything." But the Titan didn't slow down. "Your will is enough." The collector lunged, snapping through drifting debris. His voice came from every direction behind Elias, inside his skull, inside the dead sector itself. "You were made for me. Human." The collector roared. "Your creator served me. You will too." Elias's blood went cold. "My creator?" Ilias whispered. Kais heard him. Even in the chaos, her eyes softened with fear and sympathy. "Ilias, the Starbinder did not rule the galaxy. He was hunted by the collector, manipulated, controlled." The Titan's golden eyes dimmed for a moment, as if remembering old battles. Ilias shouted, "So you're saying the Starbinder was a slave?" The collector hissed, "He was mine. As you will be." The Titan roared with such force, the dead sector cracked with energy. "The Starbinder was never your servant." The collector snarled, "Then why did he build you for me, little human?" Ilias froze. Cold terror shot through him. Kais was right. His life was not an accident. He was engineered, made for something dark. The collector continued, voice dripping with poisonous pride. "Your body is human, yes, but inside your cells, inside your mind, inside your veins, lies a design, a pattern, a purpose. Your purpose is to obey." Ilias trembled. His hands shook. The glowing mark on his palm pulsed faster, reacting to his fear. Kais moved beside him and gripped his arms tightly. "Ilias, listen to me," she said, voice fierce. "He may have created a purpose for you, but you decide who you are, not him." The children pressed against her legs, staring at Elias with desperate eyes. They looked at him not as a weapon, but as their protector. Ilias swallowed hard. "I don't want to be what he wants." Kais nodded. "Then choose. Right now." The collector screamed in rage. "You have no choice." His shadow arm lashed forward, enormous and burning red. Elias lifted his hand, trying to block it, but the force was overwhelming. The Titan intercepted the blow, shielding Elias with its body. Metal cracked. Runes flickered. The Titan staggered. Ilias shouted, "No, don't let him kill you." The Titan responded weakly, "Command me." Ilias clenched his fists. For the first time through the fear and confusion, he felt something deeper, something warm and steady. A force that had nothing to do with destiny or creation. It was choice. Ilias stepped forward, raising his glowing hand toward the Titan. "I command you to fight for yourself," Ilias shouted. "Not for me, not for him, for your own freedom." The Titan's runes exploded into brilliant gold. Kais gasped, "Elias, you freed it. No Starbinder ever did that." The Titan rose taller, stronger, burning with new life. "My will is my own." The collector howled, "No, you were mine. Both of you were mine." The Titan drew back its fist. Ilias felt their minds connect as one, not in slavery or control, but in shared purpose. Ilias whispered, "Let's end this." The Titan struck. A shockwave tore through the dead sector, ripping the collector's monstrous form apart. Red light burst from his body, flames of pure wrath that screamed like dying stars. The collector collapsed, breaking into pieces of shadow that dissolved into nothing. The dead sector fell silent. The Titan's golden eyes dimmed, peaceful at last. Ilias fell to his knees, trembling with exhaustion. Kais rushed to him, kneeling beside him and placing a steady hand on his shoulder. You chose your path, she said softly. And it was stronger than his. Elias let out a shaky breath. I thought I was supposed to follow a destiny, but I didn't want it. Kais smiled, small, tired, but full of warmth he had never seen from her before. That is why you were worthy of it. The Titan lowered itself, bowing its great head toward Elias. Not in worship, not in command. In respect. Starbinder. Free. Elias reached out and touched the Titan's glowing armor. Understanding the truth, he was no longer a creation, no longer a tool, no longer a legacy of someone else's war. He was Elias Arden, a human who chose his own fate. The AI flickered back to life. Elias, it said softly. Destination? Elias smiled faintly. Anywhere but here. Kai stood beside him, her children holding her hands. Wherever we go, she said. We go together. The Titan moved aside, opening a path out of the dead sector as if protecting them one last time. Elias guided the ship forward. The darkness faded. Stars returned. And for the first time, Elias felt something he had not felt in years. Hope.